Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel for a brand new video here with me, Addict. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and I'm going to be showing you all how to make object recolors for The Sims 2. So what I mean by object recolors is things like build mode content, or more specifically buy mode content in The Sims 2 that you can create recolors for if you have the right tools. It's actually quite simple and easy. In theory, sometimes it gets a little more complicated and I'll sort of go through all that, but in theory, in general, making recolors for The Sims 2 is actually not a terribly complicated thing to do, and I love recolors. I tend to recolor stuff myself. I love downloading recolors, and a few people have been asking me how I do them or how to make them, so I wanted to go ahead and make a tutorial today for you all on how to make recolors of objects for The Sims 2. So to recolor objects in The Sims 2, there's a couple of things that you need. The first one of those, the most key, is Sims 2 PE, or SimPE for The Sims 2, the Sims 2 package editor. Underneath the video in the description, I have links for everything that you will need to download if you would like to follow along with this tutorial today. But SimPE is basically a tool for doing all kinds of different crazy things in The Sims 2. We're going to be using SimPE today, so if you have not downloaded SimPE before, or you have it and you've sort of barely used it, you don't really know what it's about, I'll be sharing a couple of tips and tricks with you on how to use SimPE today. If you do download SimPE fresh from the link under the video, you will also need to get an extra file that is necessary for the Sims 2 SimPE to run, and that is the hoods.xml file. For some reason, I'm pretty sure it's not included in that download, so you need to go ahead and download hoods.xml from the thread that I have also linked and pop that in your Sims 2 SimPE data folder. If I'm wrong about that and it's actually already included in that download, forget I said that, but you do need to make sure you have hoods.xml for SimPE to run properly for you. Another thing you're going to need is DDS Tools by NVIDIA, which is a plugin for SimPE, which will enable you to make DDS files for your object recolors, which will make the object recolors actually look nicer in game. So again, there's a link under the video where you can go ahead and download DDS Utilities by NVIDIA. You just need to hit this button right here on their website and you can download that. You need to download it, run the program and install it in your computer, and just make a note of where exactly it installs to. So I'm going to run this. It says, this is actually an updated version, so sure, I'm going to run this for you right now and I'll show you how this works. So it's going to uninstall my old version and it's going to reinstall a new version. Oh, okay, sure. Okay, so of course I read and accept every single thing there. Under terms and conditions, I don't want to subscribe to receive product updates. Organization, Addict. There we go, perfect. Just write anything in the organization box, it doesn't matter. So it's going to go through and apparently register this product, or it'll skip registering it, I'm not really sure. Okay, so next it's asking me where I would like to install the NVIDIA DDS utilities. By default, it's going to install it into program files, x86 on my computer, NVIDIA Corporation /DDS utilities. This is the default install location for this program, and it is key that you just take a note of where exactly it does install to, because we will be telling SimPE where to look for the DDS utilities in just a minute. So we need to make sure that we just know where exactly that is. If you just leave it as the default install location, it's pretty simple. Most things on modern computers get installed into program files 86. So the other thing that you're going to need for today's tutorial is some type of photo editing software. Now, usually when I make recolors, I do use Adobe Photoshop. It's an old version of Photoshop that I got very legitimately. But for today's tutorial, we're going to be using a program called Paint.net, which is a free piece of software that you can download off the internet as well. So I figured I would use Paint.net today so if you guys don't have the ability to grab Photoshop or anything like that, you can just follow along exactly with what I've been doing in this tutorial anyway. Another good option is GIMP. I believe GIMP is sort of like more similar to Photoshop. I've only used it once and I found it very confusing. So we're going to use Paint.net for today's tutorial, and there is also a link to download that under the video, which will lead you to this page, and you just click on this free download paint.net button. So once you have downloaded SimPE, and by the way, handy tip, I recommend installing it into a folder called Sims Tools. I have a folder here called Sims Tools, and then I have Sims 2 tools. Then I have all my different Sims 2 tools that I use for doing things in the Sims 2. It's a bit crazy really. I've got like CC Merger, Clean Installer, Collection Maker, Download Organizer, Hack Conflict Detection Utility. I've got all sorts of crap in here. But I also have my Sims 2 PE folder in here as well. So this is where the Sims 2 SimPE gets installed to. So it may not give you a shortcut immediately on your desktop when you install SimPE. So if it doesn't, to run the program, you need to come in here and click on the simpE.exe file to run the program on your computer. So this is what my SimPE looks like when I open it. This is my default save layout. You might not have this window here, the Object Workshop window, and this window is actually key for making recolors in The Sims 2. We're going to be using it extensively today. So if you don't see the Object Workshop window, you can just go into Window and make sure that you have Object Workshop selected. I just turned it off, so I'll turn it back on again. There it is. It also might be like on a sidebar here. I'm not... Honestly, I don't remember how SimPE is laid out when you first load it because I've had it like this for such a long time. But you need to find Object Workshop and make sure that you can see that. And then I mentioned before about how we need to tell SimPE where to look for the DDS utility. So the way we do that is we go up to Extra and we go into Preferences, and that is going to open up a little window here. You can see System Folders. So this actually tells SimPE where your game is installed. So it tells you where the original game is installed, the save game is where the My Documents file is. It finds all the expansion packs. This was, obviously I have the Ultimate Collection, so it's just in my Origin Games folder. But so if your SimPE program for whatever reason is having trouble actually finding your Sims 2 install, you can tell it where to look in here. But we want to pay attention to this window here, which is NVIDIA DDS tool folder. So as I said, it got installed, we took a note, it got installed into Program Files 86, NVIDIA Corporation DDS Utilities. So if this is blank for you, just hit this browse button, navigate to your Program Files 86, which if you're going from your main computer, it might be C drive or your main drive. Program Files, NVIDIA Corporation DDS Utilities, and there it is. And so it knows now where to look for my NVIDIA DDS utilities. Right, so that's pretty much all the setup for today, apart from one thing, and this is just a really handy tip that I have for you. Whenever you're making a recolor project, I recommend just making a nice clean folder on your desktop and calling it whatever you're going to be recoloring. Another thing you can do is have a folder called like Sims 2 projects somewhere on your computer. And then you can use this folder to control all of your Sims 2 projects. I actually have one on this computer in my pictures file called Sims 2 Recolours. So this is like all the recolors that I've done for the Sims 2 over the years. But for today, we'll create a brand new folder. We'll call it Sims 2 Projects. And then I'm going to say tutorial. Okay. So this is going to be now and I'll make that bigger. So this is now going to be our sort of folder that we're using for our tutorial today. It's just a handy tip for being able to easily navigate things. And the other thing you can do, which is kind of nice, is you can pin this folder to quick access. So I think you can do that by right clicking and saying pin to quick access. And now it's going to appear here on my quick access pins. So you can see my pins. I have my backups folder pinned, my Sims Tools folder pinned, my documents folder pinned. I've got exports pinned. This is where I export all my videos to. And I've got Sims 2 projects pinned as well. So that's just going to make my life easier in terms of navigating around my computer. Oh, there is one thing that I did forget to mention, which you will also probably want if you're making recolors for The Sims 2 or if you use custom recolors for The Sims 2, and that is the Sims 2 color package enabler, or whatever, what is it called? Let's actually have a Google. So Sims 2, it's like CEP for Ultimate Collection, color enable package. Yeah, so this thing makes it so you can like have more recolors for objects So you can download this, it's got an auto installer and it will make it so that your game can recognize custom recolors. That's probably an important tip that I should have mentioned. I think from memory, it creates a folder in here, in your My Documents folder called CEP Extra, where you can put in any extra custom CEP files. And I think there's also a point in SimPE maybe where you may have to tell this where to find your CEP folder. So I think it's something to do with these two folders here in Preferences File Table, where it's got the Enable Color options, GMND and MMAT. These are some important things, and then you can see also we're looking at the CEP Extra. So if for whatever reason you don't have your custom recolors showing up in game, this is probably something to check that it knows where your CEP is installed. Good tip. All right, so to actually make a recolor, to get to the meat and bones of this video today, there's two different things that you may want to recolor for The Sims 2. You may want to recolor a base Maxis object, or you may want to make a recolor of a custom content object. I'm going to show you both today because they're basically the same, but just slightly different. So over here in our Object Workshop window, there's two options. There's Start and Open. Start, if we click this, first thing that SimPE is going to do is it's going to load all of the objects that we have in the game. So this can take a minute, so just be patient and wait for your program to load everything. And then what we're going to get up here in the Object Workshop once it's done is some drop down menus of all of the Maxis objects that are in the game. So for today's tutorial, we're going to be recoloring some paintings, because paintings are how I got started in making recolors for The Sims 2. So they're a good sort of introduction to making a recolor for Sims 2. So for that, we're going to go into decorative. We're going to go into wall deco, and then I'm going to be making some recolors today of a picture called, what is it called? It's called The Living Room with Man and Woman by Peter Lytton. So I'm going to see if I can find that. It can be a little tricky to find which particular object you want to recolor. You can also, of course, click through them if you're not sure, but so we could make some recolors of any of these Maxis objects, which could be fun. But I'm going to do the portrait of the man and woman because I'm wanting to make some more nice, beautiful modern art for my game today. And this one, oh gosh, I've lost it. I found it before and now I've lost it. Living room, there we go. This one is just a nice sort of really plain canvas that just sits on the wall. It doesn't have a big heavy frame or anything like that. So I'm going to be making a recolor of this particular object here. So this came with free time and it's in decorative wall. So once we've selected with which object we're going to be recoloring, we'll hit next. And then here there are two tasks that we can do. Mine has already decided we're going to be making a recolor. If yours is set to clone, this is something a little different. This is actually creating a brand new object. We don't want to create a brand new object. That's a different tutorial. That's a whole nother tutorial that we'll do another day. So we're going to do a recolor. You can see it's got create color extension package automatically ticked, which is what we want. And then we're going to hit start. You can also hit the finish button that was up there too. Now what it's going to do is it's going to pop open a big file window, and what this is asking us to do is save our recolor. So all recolors in the game, or all custom recolors in the game, come with their own little file. So we're going to navigate to our Sims 2 projects folder, tutorial, and I'm going to call this TA for T-Addict underscore, let's say living room recolor 01. Now, some tips with your file names: keep them short. Don't use any special characters other than an underscore, which you can see I've put in here. And yeah, just keep them simple. Don't go for like super duper long-winded file names. It's just not worth it. It slows down your game. So keep them nice and short. And this gives me enough information that I could look at this file and go, oh yep, I know what that refers to. If living room wasn't enough info for you, I could go living room canvas or living room painting, or I could say living room man-woman painting or something like that. But that's just, again, we're just making our file name longer and longer. So I'm just gonna say Recolour 01 and I'm gonna hit save. All right, so the next thing it does is it shows us a subset selection. So when you recolor an object in The Sims 2, just using the base game like recolor tool, sometimes there are two different parts of the object you can recolor. Sometimes there's only one part of the object you can recolor. So what this is asking us is, what sections of the mesh do we want to make this recolor for? This particular painting, it only has one subset selection. It only has one thing I can recolor, which is the image that appears on the canvas, right? If it was a painting that had a frame that was recolorable separately to the picture inside the frame, there would be two subsets here. Okay, and I could make a recolor of both the frame and the picture inside the frame. So I'll show you an example of that. I'm just going to hit OK for now. It's going to load my subsets, and we'll come back to this in a minute. I'm just going to hit save. But so let's say, for example, that I was doing, what's one where you can recolor thing? I think Rolling Hills has a frame that's recolorable separately to the normal one. So let's just see if I go through this same project. I'm just going to call this test. Yeah, here we go. So you can see here we've got the image that appears inside of the picture, and we can also see here there's a separate image for the frame color. Okay, so that's an example of a different picture. There's only ever going to be two subsets because that's the way the Sims 2 recolor tool works. You can only ever have two different things you can recolor separately. For example, a bed frame and then the bedspread. That's a very easy example of it as well. Now, if I wanted to create a recolor with the frame and the picture, I would leave both of this ticked. If I only wanted to recolor the picture, I might untick that one, but probably better just to leave them both ticked. So then you just leave auto select matching textures applied and hit OK. And this time you can see in my file here, I've got two texture images or TXTR files. These are the ones that control what the object looks like. In our other one, in our other package that we made, if I just reopen that one, there's only one TXTR image. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Because as I said, this picture doesn't have a frame that's recolorable separate to the picture. I hope that makes sense. So we've got our package created, we've got our TXTR image, and this is what we're going to make the recolor using. So down here, I have plugin view open. So this is showing us the image that appears on the canvas. It's showing us a variety of different sizes of the image because the game loads a variety of different sizes of the image. And it's showing us like what formats of DXT it's currently in. You can see this is DXT1 format currently, and that ties into the DDS utilities, but we'll go through that a little later. All you need to do for now is right click on this image and select export. You can also use this button over here on the left that says export as well. I tend to just right click and say export. Okay, so it's going to show us, it's going to save the file name as this, which is ridiculously long and complicated, and it's going to save as a PNG. This is fine, we can leave both of those as is, or if you really wanted you could rename this as just like original.png. That might be something that you do just so it's easy for you to understand, but you don't have to. You can leave the file name as whatever. Now, for now, I'm just going to minimize SimPE. I'm going to minimize that. Hey, there's me and my husband. Aren't we cute? And I'm going to head back to my Sims 2 projects tutorial folder. Okay, so this test package, I'm going to delete because we don't need it, but so here we've got two files. We've got the TA Living Room Recolor 01. This is our actual recolor file, and then we've got the .png file here, which is the image file that we're going to be working with. I'm going to open this image file using paint.net, and there we go. So now you can see it's auto maximize paint.net, and if I just zoom in here, I'm holding the control button and I'm just scrolling in with my mouse wheel. Here's the picture that appears on my artwork in the game. So this here might be a little confusing. You might be like, what on earth am I looking at? Basically, this is a UV map or like a texture map. And it's like they've taken the object and kind of flattened it out. This section here is the actual artwork. This section here is the back of the artwork frame. So if you wanted to, you could change the color of the back of the artwork frame. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm just going to leave all this as is. These little tiny bits here are probably like the edges of the frame. And this silver bit here, I wouldn't have a clue what that is, to be honest. I don't really know. But all we're going to be changing today is this main image here on the picture. So I said that I wanted to create some beautiful new modern artwork for my game. So what I would usually do is I'd head to Google image search and I would Google what I'm looking for. So I might go modern art, right? Just as an example. Hey, that's from the I'm So Retro poster. And then I might scroll through and have a look and see if there's anything that jumps out at me that I might like to use for this recolor in my game. This one looks all right, might open that one. This one looks all right, might open that one. So that's quite a nice painting. That looks all right. That one's got, what's it called? Watermarks all over it, so we won't use that one. And basically what I'm going to look for is a picture that I can easily sort of use and put onto my new artwork. There's probably, I think a really good resource is a website called Pixabay. Pixabay has a lot of beautiful free images that you can use. These ones are all sort of IRL images. I wonder if I go like illustrations. Okay, so here's some beautiful free images that we are more than welcome to use that have been uploaded to the internet. So let's use one of these for today. This is a beautiful picture right here. So this is a Pixabay license, free for commercial use, no attribution required. If you care about this kind of thing, Pixabay is a really good resource for that. If you don't care about this kind of thing, like I often don't, I might just pick a picture and just copy paste it. Like this one's really nice. I might just like copy paste this onto my image in the game. But again, for today we'll try to be legit. We'll use this this Pixabay resource because they have some really nice artwork. What else have we got? This is kind of nice, just like a, yeah, this is nice actually. So we can do a free download of this one. Okay, so with the options here for sizes for download, while you might think it's good to get like a really nice big version of this image, I actually would recommend, if you have the option, go for a slightly smaller version of the image. The reason I say that is that usually the pictures here from the Maxis objects are quite small. So if we look at the image canvas size right now, you can see that this image is actually 512 by 256 pixels, which means that if we were to download this image in 1920 by 1920 pixels, it's going to be way too big. And we're going to have to shrink it down and resize it down, and we're going to lose a lot of quality in the image. So I would actually go for this 640 by 640 download instead and download this slightly smaller version of this image, because then we'll only have to shrink it down a little bit to make it fit into that 512 by 256 image. So I've downloaded this and I've opened it here. So here we are, and yeah, I'm just going to, I'm just going to select all, I'm going to hit copy. We're going to move over here to our main image. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, and I highly recommend always doing this, is create a new layer to your image. Because now if I paste the woman in here, I'm going to, oh yes, so it's saying the image being pasted is larger than the canvas size. What do you want to do? We don't want to expand the canvas. We don't want to change the size of this original Maxis image file. We want to keep canvas size. So now our pictures here, you can see it is too big, but that's okay. And you can see that layer 2 is now our lovely woman. So if I'm just going to undo for a sec, if I hadn't created this new layer and I pasted it just on top of that, it's now sort of part of my image. So if I just like pop that there and then hit delete, it's going to actually delete part of the original image underneath it. It's not a good idea. I always recommend when working with recolors, and Photoshop does this kind of automatically actually, it will always create a new layer when you paste something in, but if you're working with Paint.net, add a new layer. It's just going to make your life a lot easier. So we've added a new layer. I'm going to hit Control V to paste, keep canvas size, and here she is. Now I need to resize her so she fits onto our image. And in paint.net, you need to hold down shift and drag to resize your image without changing the resolution of the image. So if I was to just drag it freehand, you can see she's transforming quite a bit. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it nice and square. So I'm gonna make it so it's going to fit here in our image. Now you can see it doesn't quite cover the entire thing. So there's a couple of options that we have here. I could make it big enough so that it does cover the whole thing, or because this image it's just got white around the woman, I'm just gonna leave that as is. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to select the bits that are still colored like that, and I'm going to fill that with white, and there we go. So this is now going to be a recolor for this object. So next thing we want to do is we want to now flatten this image, because we have 2 layers currently and we just want it to be 1 layer. So I'm going to hit this button here, which is merge layer down, and now this is all one nice layer. Then I'm going to hit file, save as, and we will save this one as Recolour 01. Okay. Oh, did I miss a part? Oh, I did. I missed a bit. Oh no. Oopsie. There was still a little bit of that line there. Let's not do that. Okay, save. There we go. So now I'm going to minimize that again. I'm going to go back into SimPE. So now what I need to do is I need to import my new image on top of this old one. So again, I could use the import button, or I can just right click and select import. And then we're going to select Recolour 01 and say open. And now here it is, our beautiful crying woman is going to be now a recolor for this painting. Now, the next thing you need to do is you'll see here there's lots of different sizes of this image. We've currently replaced the 512 by 256 size, but if you right click and say update all sizes, it will now update every single size for this image. So that's something that you need to do. Then what we need to do is use the DDS utilities to create a DXT file. Now, honestly, I don't really know what the DXT file does. I just know that I need to create one. So I can't give you any more information on that. You might want to have a Google, I don't know. But what we need to do is right click and say build DXT. We say open image, and we're going to open the same new PNG that we've created. Say open. There's a couple of options here. You can leave it as DXT1 format. You can change to DXT3 or DXT5. I usually make it into DXT3. And then you can see there's another drop down menu here for sharpen. And we want to click this little arrow, scroll right up to the top and change this to none, and hit build. And it's now built us a DXT file. Again, I'm afraid, honestly, I'm a bit of a noob. I don't know what that does. I don't know why you need to have it as none versus smooth or sharpen or whatever. That's just how I've learnt to do recolors, so that's what I do. Then after you've done that, you want to hit this commit button over here, changes were committed, and hit save. Okay, done. We've just created a brand new recolor for this painting in the game. So now what we'd want to do is close that, make a new file. We can just minimize SimPE for now. And so this file here, this TA Living Room Recolour 01 file, this now needs to go into our downloads folder in the game so we can actually view our new recolor in the game. My downloads folder is super duper organized. I love it, it's very nice. So I'm gonna go into my Buy Deco Wall folder, and I'm just gonna paste that in here, and you can see it's now in here in my Buy Deco Wall folder. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna load up the game for you. This is gonna take 10 minutes to load, so I will be back with you once it's loaded, and we're gonna have a look at our new recolor in game. So while it's loading, I've decided to Google what is a DXT file and what does it do. It is a compressed texture. A DXT file is a compressed texture, often packaged into other container formats, mainly DDS, VTF. A large number of computer games use DXT files as texture, skin, decal, resource containers. There are tools to convert .dxt files to .bmp and back, as well as to perform a conversion between DXT and other texture formats. So I think it just tells the game what it's supposed to look like, what the image is supposed to look like. I think that's what it does. A DDS file is a raster image saved in the direct draw surface DDS container format. It can store compressed and uncompressed pixel formats. DDS files are often used for texturing video game unit models, but may also be used to store digital photos and Windows desktop backgrounds. Cool. Okay, I still don't really understand what it does, but you know, at least I tried. Okay, so here we are in the game. This is one of my newly renovated condos. If you missed that video, by the way, you should totally check it out because it's awesome. I'm just going to hide all custom content from my catalog so I can easily find this picture. So we have, here is our picture. This is the original man and woman in a living room by Peter Lighton artwork. So now if we, oh, I think actually I need to turn that back on again. If we go to Recolour, click on this and go across, there is our brand new Recolour in the game. You can see I've already made some recolours of this painting before. This is one of the pictures that I used for my my family portraits series, which is quite cute. But yeah, this here is the one we just made, so I can recolour it to that. There she is, looking absolutely gorgeous. I think it looks really nice. And our recolour is done. So I am curious, what is the silver bit? So you can see here's the back of the painting. So you can see this was the other part of the texture file. So if I reopen that, this is this part of the texture file is for the back of the painting. But I'm still not sure, maybe it's for the bolt? Like this silver rod bit? I have no idea what that's for. Not important whatsoever, I was just curious. But yeah, so there's our beautiful new Recolour. I could repeat this process a multiple number of times, however many times I wanted, to create even more recolours of this beautiful painting in the game. Now, at the start of the video, I did mention that it is also possible to create recolours of custom content objects that you've downloaded rather than a Maxis object. So the process is almost identical, except for the first step. So the first step last time was to hit the start button and then get our huge big list of all of the Maxis content. If we use the open button instead, it's going to pop up a file window where we can open any custom package folder that we happen to have in the game. So in my downloads folder, I have actually just recently downloaded a couple of new painting meshes that I wouldn't mind creating some extra recolours for. One of them was this one right here, the MDRN SMS Boriana Mihailovska mesh. So if I wanted to create a recolor of this custom content painting, I would open this mesh file instead of going through the start menu. I hit open, and then you can see the next step is exactly the same. So we want to create a recolor. It's going to create a color extension package. We hit start. Then it's going to ask us to save our file. So we'll save it in tutorial, and I'll call this one TA. What is it? It's I always use RC for recolor. It's just easier. And then hit save. This is what the default texture file for this picture looks like. So again, I'm just going to go export. I'm going to save this as original 2.png. I can open this in paint.net. Here it is. I have no idea why this texture file is so big. So this time, the only part I'm worrying about recoloring is this part right here. Whoops, I just drew a line over it. Let's do some beautiful modern art with my paintbrush. It's beautiful. Yes, here we go. Abstract modern art by Addict. Stunning. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so let's say I want to create a recolor of this. Again, I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to go ahead, I can close that now. I'm going to open one of those other images that I just found, like this one, for example, would look, I think, really nice on this mesh. Copy that, paste that, keep canvas size, resize that. There we go. I think that is really gorgeous. I really do like that artwork quite a lot, actually. Let's make my brush a little bigger. And then I'm just going to paint over these parts of the original. There we go. I think that's going to look really nice. So I'm going to save, whoops, save as. I will save it as Mihailovska Recolor 01 .png. I think that's what it was called. Yep. Yep, sure. Back in here, so once again we're going to import, we're going to open my new recolor, going to update all sizes, going to build DXT, open my Mihailovska DXT3 format, perfect, and not smoothen, none, build, commit, save, done. So that was obviously a lot faster than I did it last time, but that does show you how quickly you can actually create recolors for objects in The Sims 2. It's very, very easy. So yeah, you could put any image that you wanted onto this file to create a custom painting in the game. So one thing that I did ages ago that I always get questions about when it comes up in a video is I did a family portraits collection of my Pleasantview Sims. So I staged all my Sims and I took some photos using my custom screenshot program so that they're higher quality and high resolution. And then I created some custom recolors for some paintings in the game so that I could have some family portraits, which is really nice. So the way I would do that is instead of, it'd be exactly the same process, but instead of downloading a random image off the internet, I might go into my screenshots folder and use one of those. So do I even have anything in my, I do have something in my screenshots folder. So let's say I wanted to, oh, this is a good example. So I took some screenshots, some beautiful screenshots of Malcolm and Cora land grab at their wedding. So let's say that I wanted to put some of these into a beautiful wedding portrait. Like, let's say I wanted to use this one of them kissing on their wedding day for a beautiful portrait. Now, this would be a lot easier in Photoshop, not gonna lie. So what I would probably do with this, if I was doing a really nice version of this picture, is I would cut out Malcolm and Cora, and I would just I would just use them for this image. Like, I wouldn't include John standing here awkwardly in the background or Florence Della Rosa standing here awkwardly in the background either. So let's see. That only took, oh no, I missed a spot. Dang it. This is fun. This is like I'm a wedding photographer editing wedding photos to make them beautiful. Do you guys do this for your Sims? I swear, I'm completely normal. Okay, there we go. So now let's try that again. So selecting the background layer, I'm going to just grab this part of the photo. And then what I'm actually also going to do, whoop, is stretch it. Can I do that? I would like to, yeah, I'm going to stretch it across so it fills the entire white space. Beautiful. And then, yeah, effect, blur, Gaussian blur. Look at that. We have this stunning wedding photo of Malcolm Cora. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I can't even. Right, so I could I could flower flatten this image. And then I can go save as. This is hilarious. I wouldn't actually want this this wedding photo to be on this particular mesh, but just for the sake of it, let's just do it. So we need to create a whole other recolor file. So we'll go open, Boriana Mihailovska recolor, and then I'm going to save this as recolor 02. There we go. Import Malcolm and Cora, looking so beautiful. Update all sizes, build DXT, and none. Build, commit, and save. Stunning. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see how that looks in game. So now the important thing is don't forget to actually put your files into your downloads folder, because I've definitely forgot to do that before. So I'm going to copy those. I'm going to put them into my wall deco folder. There we go. So now we're going to have those recolors appearing in game on that mesh. So I will show you guys that now. Okay, so here we are again in the game. I've just pulled out the custom painting mesh that I've just recolored twice. So now if I recolor this one, you can see we've got a recolor here of the hug, which I think is just really nice. I really like that artwork. And here we have Malcolm and Cora kissing on their wedding day. So I did not do a fantastic job with this. I would redo that and make it better 100% rather than like having all of this. I would probably put like a little blur around the edge of them or something, but that's just a proof of concept to show you can easily create some like beautiful wedding photos or family photos on any mesh that you like, whether it be custom or vanilla. So that's pretty much it for today's basic tutorial in how to make object recolors for The Sims 2. There are a couple of extra things that I'll mention just as kind of like pro tips or just extra tips. The first thing I'll mention is that not every texture file is as easy to understand as those painting files are. One of the most confusing texture files I ever worked with, let's see if I can actually find this for you. The Neil Kitchen. Right, so this image here, I'll open in paint.net so you can see. This is a texture image for a counter in a kitchen. And you can see that this texture image is quite detailed. So we've got like a main wood texture that's sort of across the whole thing, but then there are lots and lots of fiddly little different parts of this that are shadowed or not recolored, or you know, we've got some like shadowed bits here, some like fun shadowed bits here with like light on one side and darkness on the other side. This was a very difficult object to recolor because I had to try to make sure that every single little part of this was kind of recolored correctly. So if we have a look at the recolors that I made, so that's like a version of what I did, and this was using Photoshop. So yeah, just trying to like mimic the shadows and the light and the dark spots on that was actually quite difficult. Texture files can be a little confusing, but the more, so yeah, they're not all as clear cut as this, for example. So just be patient with yourself and remember that some recolors take longer than others. The other pro tip that I'll give you really quickly is that sometimes an object, particularly a custom content object, or a custom content set, will have a master object, which means that all of the other objects in that set will use recolors from that one object, the main object in the set, and it's always called a master. And you might come across something that says, you know, like all other objects are slaved to the master or repoed to the master. So if you're wanting to recolor a set that has a master, which actually is a lot easier than recoloring a set that doesn't have a master, because you only need to make recolors for one object, that will be what you need to recolor, is the master object of that set. Good example of this was the heavy wood set. Everything was slaved to this one master texture file, which I'll show you here. So yeah, this one file had all of the recolors for every single object in the heavy wood set. And that's actually really helpful because I could just recolor it in all of iCAD's woods quite quickly and easily. And then if I wanted to know what particular part of the the recolor file appeared where on the objects, you can just draw some squiggly lines on here as I have and see where that pops up in the game. But yeah, so just pay attention if you're doing some recolors for a set that has a master object. You only need to recolor the master to get all of the recolors to appear. Another pro tip I have for you is get yourself some beautiful texture files. So a lot of CC creators online have released texture files. So Peacemaker is one of my favorite actually. He does custom content for The Sims 4, and he actually released for download PNGs of all of his wood textures that he used. I've also got some polished brass textures, you know, like plain cream. I've got metals, I've got Sims 4 woods, I've got old wood textures. So I've got some nice countertop textures. Save yourself a couple of textures if you really want to get into doing recolors and you want to do a lot of recolors of furniture. So things that will be mostly recolored in woods. Yeah, get yourself some nice, beautiful texture files that you can easily apply to everything that you want to recolor, so you don't have to constantly go searching on Google and, you know, going wood texture. Wood texture, right, now which one do I want to try to use? And like looking around, actually that's really nice, wood texture. I like that one quite a lot. But alright, so I think that's everything for today's tutorial. If you do have any questions or if there's anything that I wasn't very clear on that you would like some more information on, please feel free to leave a comment under the video. Otherwise, I do also have a link to my Discord server. You are more than welcome to join my Discord and ask some more in-depth questions on there if you would be comfortable doing that. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you shall all go forth and make recolors for The Sims 2 because I always need more recolors. So yes, please go forth, make some recolors, share them with me, send me a message, be like, oh my gosh, I made some recolors of this painting using your tutorial. I would love to get them. And yeah, if there's anything you're confused about, please do let me know and I will do my best to answer your questions. Hopefully I didn't miss anything and hopefully you found this video helpful and somewhat enjoyable. So, alright guys, thank you all so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. If you want to see other tutorials, leave me a comment as well. Let me know what else you would like to learn how to do here in The Sims 2. Of course, please subscribe if you are not subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell so you know when I am uploading videos. And I want to give a huge shout out as always to my Patreon supporters. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. You are the best and you keep this channel running and I just want to thank you so much. But until next time guys, I hope you'll have a wonderful week. Take care and I will see you next time. Bye for now.